My name is Joel Robinson from Cobra Firing Systems, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to install your existing 18M into an 18M recharge upgrade kit. This is going to be a two-step process. The first step will be the installation process, and the second step is going to be the calibration process. The calibration process is going to be documented in a different video with a link in the description below. So there's two different types of recharge kit, both of them here in front of us, and I'll be demonstrating how to install both of them in the video. If you'd like to learn the difference about these two upgrade kits, you can follow the link in the description below. So what comes with the kit? You'll have a new replacement enclosure, you'll have the power adapter board, a 14.8 volt LiPo battery, and you'll have two extra screws. The tools needed for this installation are a Phillips screwdriver and a 5/16 wrench. Now for this video, I will also be using an electric screwdriver. The first thing we're going to want to do is uninstall our existing 18M. So step number one is going to be removing the 6 screws on the front of the module and the 4 screws on the back of the module. Once you have removed the 4 screws on the back of the enclosure, you can go ahead and open up your unit. Now the next step is going to be disconnecting the battery harness and the key switch. Now we're going to remove the 3 Q strips. And also the terminal gaskets. Alright, now we can flip our unit over, and using the 5/16 wrench, we're going to remove the antenna nut. And normally if I just loosen it, I can use my finger to unscrew it the rest of the way. Once the nut is off, you can flip your unit over, and using a hard surface, you can push on this side of the antenna connector to push it through the enclosure. Like so. Now we're going to remove the 6 screws on the motherboard. Alright, once we have removed the 6 screws from the back of the motherboard, you can go ahead and pull out the motherboard. And lastly, we're going to remove the keypad from the enclosure. And now we are ready to install our 18M into the recharge upgrade kit. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my new enclosure, the new front half. First thing we're going to do is we're going to just adjust these wires. We're going to move the key switch, kind of just push it out of the way here. And if you have the external post, you can just move this wire out of the way as well. And then lastly, I'm going to take the recharge wire, and I'm just going to kind of tuck it here in the second Q bay. Alright, so the first step is going to be putting our keypad back in. Go ahead and drop this into place. Now we're going to grab our motherboard, and we're going to take the antenna connector and we're going to feed it through this hole here. You can see here that there's actually a flat side on the antenna connector, and you're going to line it up with the flat side right here. Now I like to go ahead and screw on the antenna connector first. So we're going to take that nut that we removed from the front earlier, we're just going to kind of screw it on by our hand all the way down. And then we're going to use our 5/16 wrench to just tighten that up. You don't have to over tighten it, just so there's a little bit of resistance. Okay, we can flip this back over. Now, making sure that the recharge wire is not being pinched in any of the Q holes. We're just going to kind of push it like so. We're going to make sure this wire is underneath of the motherboard. Kind of like so. And then we're just going to push the motherboard into place. Okay. So you can see here that the 6 screw holes are lined up. These wires are not being pinched between any of them, so we can go ahead and start screwing them back into place. Now, it is important here that you do not over tighten these, so I'm actually going to use the hand screwdriver instead of the electric one. Alright, once you screw in those 6 screws, we're going to go ahead and take the recharge wire here and pull it out of the Q-strip bay. Now we're going to take our Q-strips, make sure the rubber gasket is on the Q-strips. You'll notice that the rubber gasket has a thicker side than this one, and that lines up with the Q-strip. Just like so. Now we're going to flip this upside down, place that into the first Q bay, line up these pins here, and just push it into place. And we'll do that with the remaining 2. Like so. Get that wire out of the way. See how it's lined up here. Push it into place. And for the last one. Okay. Next, we're going to grab the power adapter. We're going to flip it around like so. You're going to take the key switch and you're going to go ahead and plug it in. Just like this. Alright. Now the power adapter itself kind of flips over and goes onto the main motherboard like this. You'll see that there's several different plugs here, and those go on these plugs. So what I like to do is I line this plug with this port here. So you'll see those 2. Then I kind of rotate a little bit, and you'll see that these all line up as well. And you just kind of push them down, like so. You'll see that this is not connected all the way. That is okay. As long as those other ones are lined up, you're fine. Now we're going to go ahead and take the key switch wires, and I'm just going to kind of tuck them down right in here. That way we don't pinch them when we put the enclosure back together. Okay. Next, we're going to take the recharge wire, and we're going to plug it in right here. Like so. Okay. And I like to get this wire kind of tucked up under here. That way we don't pinch it right here with this standoff. Now, if you do not have the external post, you don't have to worry about this stuff, the next step. But if you do, you take this wire, and you're going to plug it into the both section. Just like so. All right, now we're going to grab our back enclosure. I'm going to make sure that these battery wires are kind of just folded down here. I'm going to take this off so you guys can see better. Go ahead and plug in our battery harness right here. Like so. Now we're just going to flip this over. I kind of guide the wires that way they don't get pinched between these standoffs. Alright. Oops. Okay. Now I just kind of pinch it together, and I look for a couple things. Like, here's what I don't want. You see how that wire sticking out? I don't want that. So I'm going to reposition that. Alright. This wire's not being pinched. The antenna wire's not being pinched. And none of the wires are between the standoff and the Q strips. That's what we do. We don't want that. We also do not want any wires here behind the battery compartment. So once this is lined up, you confirm no wires are being pinched, you can go ahead and insert the 4 screws into the back of the enclosure. Now it's also important that you do not over tighten these screws. So I'm going to tighten them down about 3/4 the way with the electric screwdriver, and then finish them off with the hand screwdriver. Alright, once you have finished tightening the 4 in the back, you can go and flip the unit over and do the 6 on the front. Same thing, you do not want to over tighten them, so I'm going to use my electric screwdriver to tighten them about 3/4 the way, and then finish them off with the hand screwdriver. Alright, once you have finished putting the 6 screws into the front of the module, we're going to go and flip it back over. We're going to take our LiPo battery, and we're going to plug it in right here. Like so. You'll see this side up. So you've now finished the installation process.
So now it is time to calibrate your unit. So please go to the calibration video. The link will be in the description below. We'd also like you to check out the voltage mode video, and the link to that is also in the description down below. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to contact us at cobra@firingsystems.com.